Clicky clock goes tick tock, freezing time as it rides down your block. Cause it's timeless. Cause it's timeless.
What up, guys? This is Thomas Podcast. We're back with the first episode. Myself and
I'm Denny.
I'm Eldon.
Our first guest is Keenan.
Keenan Wojkonovich, baby.
Before we introduce ourselves, I think we should crack open some wine. I know Keenan, he likes bourbon, so we got him something special.
I'm a Kentucky boy.
Got some bourbon?
Oh, yeah.
You want to crack it open?
Star Trek.
And you got to drink bourbon out of a wine cup, so.
We'll roll with it. We'll roll with it.
Let's see what we can do.
Hey, just pass all of it down.
Yeah.
We good?
Yeah.
I think you need a little bit more.
A little more?
Nah, I'm messing with you.
We'll get too, we're not trying to get too wild.
You gotta get home safe.
Give me the wine. You got a cork in it?
No. Shouldn't. If it does, I gotta.
There you go.
Thank you.
So while Denny's pouring up, Keenan, go ahead. Just tell us stuff about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm about to be 22 in December. I'm a young entrepreneur, author, speaker, philanthropist, just about anything you can imagine, investor as well. Pretty broad with everything I do.
Right.
Most people know me from what I started back when I was 16. It was a nonprofit called Young Visionaries Foundation. Branched that out. Wrote a book at 18. Became a #2 Amazon bestseller on its charts. And then started a company at 19. And just been growing ever since then.
Nice, man. Nice. Tell us about Young Visionaries. Like, what is it?
So Young Visionaries Foundation, that's a nonprofit. It's dedicated towards getting youth and communities around the world connected and being active in their communities. So what I mean by that is it all started here in Bowling Green. I saw a need that there wasn't enough young people being active and doing anything.
Right.
And I saw a need for that, and I decided that, hell, let's try to do something good for the community for once.
What age did you do that at?
16.
16?
Yep. So I decided it was actually my best friend Zach. I grew up with him, and I just called him up and I was like, "Hey man, like this is my idea. This is what I got. What I want to do." And he's like, "Let's do it." And then so this was right around October of 2014, and so we decided to start with, like, Thanksgiving is right around the corner. We're like, "Oh, let's like start with the turkey drive," and we decided to raise enough money. We bought like around 50 turkeys at that time, and or hundreds of canned goods, and they just went in an area of Bowling Green that needed it the most, and then just started like going door to door, helping out families, that kind of thing. It caught attention. We started fast trolling. Like most nonprofits do 2 or 3 events a year. We did 9 events our first year, and so that kind of caught a lot of people around the globe, like what we were doing. We were basically knocking out an event every other month, and it was just insane. And people were like, how the hell are y'all doing that? And like during Christmas time, we'd buy hundreds of books for the kids and push a mission like, stay in school, become educated, focus on your education, that kind of thing, expand your horizons. Right around March, we would do like International Women's Day. We'd buy hundreds of bouquets of roses, have people all around the community come in and like go door to door, thank women for everything they do in our community. And one that really just took off for us was Tools for Thought, not Tools for Thought, 1 meal a day. It was in the summertime. For 30 days straight, we would feed the homeless. And we started in Bowling Green, and we branched out to Toledo, Ohio, Nashville, Atlanta, and then we had a lady from Bangalore, India give us a shout, and she wanted to expand the project out there. And so all this stuff started just happening, man, and like we were just very blessed to see the impact that it had. We managed to help right around up to date, like right around 37,000 people.
Did she do it in India?
Oh, yeah.
So she did it? Did you have your label on it or no?
No, she definitely put our name out there, like Young Visionaries Foundation, that kind of thing. But like the way I do stuff with myself is like I don't like to give myself the credit.
Yeah.
It's more of like I like to see young people taking initiative into their house. So that's what the whole brand name of Young Visionaries is. Everyone who wants to be a visionary can be one.
Yeah.
And so like we encourage kids out there. Like we had kids, like I had somebody out here in South Warren High School start up his own like little thing, ministry group, just inspired based off of what we did. And so like, and he still pushes that he's a young visionary at the end of the day and that kind of thing. So like, it's very powerful to see that.
Yeah.
And like we built this kind of community of just young people that are wanting to do good things out there and just like see a need. If you see a problem, that's the whole thing about being visionary. If you look it up, it's somebody who has an idea of what the future will hold or be like and shape it in their form. And so like, with that being said, you know, we got a lot of young people who have ideas, see problems, and we want them to solve those problems. And so that's where we come around. And I'm just kind of the person that, you know, my role is to inspire these kids and push them to do this stuff and not to give up, and just kind of use my story as an example of like what can happen if you don't give up.
Yeah, because what we wanted to do, we wanted to start a kind of helping people, just timeless in general.
Yeah.
Because we started this to motivate young people like you did. But we wanted to start kind of the same thing. But one question I had, well, we all had, was starting your nonprofit. Did you do some of the things like that? I know you do turkey drives and stuff.
Yeah.
Did you do that first without all? Because nonprofit has a paperwork.
Oh yeah.
So did you do that before? Because when you called up your manager, how did that go on? Did you do the paperwork right away or what?
Yeah, so thankfully I had a buddy in town who was an attorney. And so, like, I called him just to make sure, like, legally we were all set, like, because of course, you know, when you do this kind of stuff, people will always try to hound you down and, like, say you're doing it for wrong intentions or that you're here in it to make money and that kind of thing. Well, we all know that's not the case. And so I called him up and he was like, and he set it all up for us pro bono, didn't charge us the thing, set us all up in 2 weeks. We were up and running in terms of papers. Everything was all clear.
Damn. Did it run you any money or?
It was like $15 for filing fee, and then I want to say it was like a $45 to register with the IRS.
Because I know people out there, they want to.
It's not that hard. Like especially like when we started, so like we focused like on the state. So like and so all we had to do was file state paperwork, but and basically it was the articles of incorporation. And you fill that out. It's like $15 fee. You send it to the Secretary of State. You get something back in about 10 days. So that's what was the case with us. We registered and that kind of thing. And then, of course, when you go nationally, if you want to go like the 501c3 route, which is gets you exempt from any taxes as a nonprofit entity. Because if you're doing stuff for people, they're not going to charge you taxes on that. And so to file out that paperwork, we had to register with the IRS and that kind of thing. And they'll give us like a 501c3 number that we can use as like a tax identification number. And like thankfully we did, whenever we first started, we didn't have much support because of course, you know, people were doubting the intentions, that kind of thing. People were talking and like, you know, of course some people get jealous and want to make up stuff and that kind of thing. So having to deal with that. But like after the first year, it was kind of like people knew that we weren't playing around. Like, you know, like once you put the work in and people started to recognize and respect it.
So what's something you say to the people that are trying to start something? They're trying to start something, but a lot of people quit because either their close group of friends or other people they know start talking shit. I mean, it's happened with us.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What's one thing you tell them? Because
there's several things I could say. Like, definitely separate yourself from all negativity. And what I mean by that, anybody who's negative in your life, whether it's your family, friends, anything negative in general, just steer away from it because whenever you first start, you're in a very critical stage. Like, and I refer to this like to any startups I've worked with. Like, we did a lot of consulting work for like up and coming like startup companies, and like it's a very critical stage because it's either you got like a make it or break it kind of feel, and any small thing could just screw everything up and just burn it all to the ground. Like one person can just say something and it gets into one person's head, and then that person spreads it to the rest of the group. Everybody starts doubting it, and it never happens. At that point, like, you know what I'm saying? So, and another thing is, whenever you're in this kind of stuff, like whatever you guys are doing here, it's very important to just keep your head down, block out the noise, put your earbuds in, and just focus. Like, focus on what's at hand. You like many people, they give up the first 6 months is like in a business, whether you're starting a business, podcast, organization, whatever it may be. The first 6 months says a lot of things, and the same thing goes if you're trying to work out, whatever, lose weight. The 6 months, like you know who's in it for the long run, who's not at that point.
Yeah.
Speaking of young visionaries, how long have y'all been going on right now?
Since 2014, so like this would be our 5th year doing everything we're doing.
What keeps you going? Because like you said, people get burnt out. Eventually down the road, it's like, okay, I've done everything I could do. Where do you get your inspiration from and stuff like that to keep going?
Realizing where I started, man. And I tell that to every single person. I got like a young kid in here, like we're managing right now, like with TikTok. He's an influencer. Like it's very easy, like putting out content like consistently, like whether you're you're an influencer who's putting out videos, a YouTuber, vlogs, you're an organization. Like after 1 or 2, 3 years of doing it, you start getting that like burnout feel because you're putting so much effort and so much energy, but you're not seeing like the results that in your mind that you want to see. Like I want to reach 100,000 subscribers. Why am I not there yet?
Yeah.
You know, or like, why haven't we crowdfunded $2 million yet? Like we've been running for 5 years. But the thing is like, what's very important whenever it comes to that is remembering where you came from, because it's very easy to get caught up in the clout and the clouds, man, like with everything, and forget where you started. So like with you guys, like for example, we're gonna use this like. Before you even started, like, just remember this all originated from a conversation. From maybe a phone call or a text message, or like sitting down for coffee and just be like talking it as friends, just thinking about something, just out of the air, like just came out the ass, like someone just said something.
Yeah, bro. The first thing that happened was the way we started was I had this idea. I was kind of watching podcasts.
Yeah.
And I was like, we really don't have one around here. And there's no podcast of the people I'm interested in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of selfish to say, but I think a lot of other people are in the same boat. You know? It's kind of lighthearted talks. Everything's about agenda. So, like,
True.
Everybody, if you see a rapper on a podcast, usually it's because he did something. He went to jail, and then people are trying to get out of him. Like, Ebro did it on the, what's that? Kodak. And he walked out. He's trying to talk about a criminal case. That's the whole reason he got him there.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why we started. But I called them, and the first thing I said was, because I've started other businesses.
Yeah.
And the worst thing is I don't know, at night you're just motivated, or you have a certain time where you're motivated. You want to do all this. Mm-hmm. And then I don't know if you ever had it, but you go to sleep, you wake up, and the motivation's gone.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing I told him. I said, man, we're gonna do this. We're gonna work 8 hours. You're gonna wake up the next day and you're like, dude, fuck this shit.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie to you. We like I've been there, and it sucks, man. It's like, but like I've always realized, man, like here's one of the things that's really pushed me, man. We were like our first year doing everything, just with the organization in general, like with Young Visionaries, being as young as we were, like 16, 17 years old, like it's so easy and quick, like at that age to just burn out. Like after 1 year doing it, we literally like, we're like, dude, like we have no support from people. Like we've been, like I was working 3 jobs, like as a 16, 17 year old, like it was hard, man. Like I was basically like most of the events we were doing came out of my own pocket. Like, you know what I'm saying? And people, it hurts to see like on Twitter, like when I was at that age, like people talking stuff and saying like, oh, like he's making money off this, or like, man, like I put more of my financial resources, time, energy, everything into organization than I've ever gotten in return. Yeah. But the fact that I got to help people meant the world to me. Yeah. Like, and that's what kept me pushing, man, is like after that 1 year mark, I was just like, damn, like put on 9 events. We've helped like around roughly 10,000 people at that point. And like looking back to where I was, like where I came from when my parents first came here, like I was a kid going through like bouncing from projects to projects, didn't know how to speak lick of English. We didn't have ESL program at the school at the time till I was in 5th grade. By that time I knew it all. Yeah. Having to learn English on my own, learn how to read and write, watching like shows and shit on TV to learn the language, and then practice what I learned there in the classroom. Like looking at that struggle and like looking at where I came from, like that just even pushed me hard. Like it's like I hit the rock bottom. The only way from here is up. Yeah. Like, and everything's on me at that point.
You say you held 9 events your first year.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you? Which event would you say you started noticing that you guys were picking up buzz? People were starting to notice you.
It was right after one meal a day, man. Right after one meal a day, that's when I started. I got a phone call from DC, and they were like, one of the centers like, I would like to be the first person to congratulate you, and I'm honored to say that you're gonna be our national carrying recipient of the year award. And so like this was back in 2016, and the year before me, Pope Francis got that. Year before me, Muhammad Ali, Bill Clinton, Maya Angelou.
So
like,
is it like one person gets it each year, or is it kind of 20 people get it, or a certain number get
Like
it
you get
a
the
year?
award.
You know what I mean?
So
We're doing something,
they
yeah.
get about like, I would say they told us anywhere between 2,500 and 5,000 nominations a year.
Okay.
And they select 5 out of those.
And you were selected out of one of them?
Yeah.
1 year, wow,
Hey,
that's
some
amazing, man.
fucking shit.
I got a nomination letter in the mail, and then like we're like, oh shit, like that's pretty dope. And you know, it was just like, you know, like we're like, oh, that's cool, like, you know, like it was like, damn, like got nominated, that's pretty cool, like. And then got the phone call. It was just like, wow, like at that point it was like, all right, like
It's just real.
yeah, it's getting real. And then I got the Nobel Peace Prize for Public Service, which was the Jefferson Award.
Yeah.
Got that the same year in 2016. And so like 2016 was a hell of a year for me, man. Like that's when a lot of started, and that's when I started writing the book. Also, right around August. Actually May is when we started writing that, and got that done by December.
That's some shit, man.
Speaking on the book, if
Go ahead.
people don't already know, would you like to say
Yeah.
what it is? Talk about
So,
it.
2016 is when I wrote Voices of Bowling Green, and it released in 2017 of January 1st. It was a book basically I dedicated to the city of Bowling Green for everything. I received a lot of support from the city, and a lot of things that I've received and done was because of Bowling Green. Like it all started here, and I've always represented it no matter where I go. Like when I was up in Orlando, Florida, received the National Caring Award. Like I was like, this one's for you, Bowling Green. Literally held it up, and everyone was just like cheered. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Put us on the map.
It's something out of a movie.
you know what I'm saying? It is like, and it's been always one of those things that's been very special to me. Like I've always loved the city so much, man. And so like the whole concept behind the book was to basically show people that no matter like basically when we're young, we all dream. We all have high aspirations, high dreams. Like we want to be basketball players. We want to be like police officers, whatever. We have multiple dreams, but as we age, that tends to fade, and we settle for less than what we originally planned to.
Yeah.
And I basically showcased that through interviewing kids all the way from preschool, kindergarten, all the way up to seniors in high school. And it was insane, to say the least, man. The shit was crazy. Like, the kids that were, like, first grade, second grade, third grade, like, the stories they had, like, they were really, like, they were so passionate about their dreams and what they wanted to do. And they even had a purpose behind, like, I want to take my mom out the hood. Or I want to do this for my dad, like you know what I'm saying, like my dad raised us alone, like, and I want to be able to help him and everybody who's helped me, like, and I went all these areas, man, interview these kids and show the transition. And seniors in high school, man, like by the time you get there, they're like full of regrets, like settle for, like, they're like, man, I'm just trying to get a factory job, or like I'm just trying to do this. And it's like the transition, like where did that happen? You know what I'm saying? Like,
do you think, like, my personal opinion, I think that happens in a school. Like, in school,
that's fair.
they put the teachers, I mean, there's some good teachers. I'm sure you've had teachers that change your life.
Yeah.
But most teachers, and the way school's set up, is you run off of a schedule.
Yeah.
And they kind of push it, because when I was in high school, they either pushed you to go to ATC, which is like going to fix cars, or go to carpentry school or something. And that kind of works you into they push you into a 9 to 5. Like,
Yeah.
and I don't think people realize that you don't, people go into, like, they go into college and they don't look at the majors.
Yeah.
They just go and they search up what's the salary for each job, and then they choose a job off the salary, and then they get out of college and they're fucking miserable.
Yeah.
I think that's a problem.
I agree with you. And to add on to that, I don't think it's just the school system. Yeah, it's a huge part, because the kids are there, like, you know, 5 days of the 7 days a week, and they're in there for 40 plus hours a week, spend most of their time there. But I think it has to deal with the fact, as a society, we're not pushing happiness. like
No, not at all.
pursuit of happiness. I think that when you like, I think the biggest bullshit question is, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like, why isn't it like, do you want to be happy? You know, like, what is your goal? Like, the goal should always be happiness. It shouldn't be to make money. It shouldn't be to do this and that. At the root of everything, you ask Michael Jordan, why does he like to pick up a basketball, shoot it like, 1,000 times a day? It's not because he wants to make $1 million. Don't get me wrong, that comes with it, with the reward of putting in work. But he does it because that makes him happy. Like, it's probably for some people, it's a gateway for them to escape their problems and like put them in a euphoric state. Or like for some people, it's like, man, like it's just the best feeling in the world. Like, I just love to pick up a basketball, shoot it. Or like for some people, it's like getting behind a mic and dropping an album, like recording a song, making music. For some people, writing a book. Like, everyone has their way, like what makes them happy internally.
And people don't understand, like, you making $100,000 doing something you don't like versus you making $40,000 doing something you do like. I think that's a whole different. That's something people don't realize because like Joe Rogan said, man, if you like making furniture and you can make furniture and sell it online and make good money, and you're doing what you love. And then people now, all they have in their head is just, like you said, 9 to 5. That's not even the problem. 9 to 5 is good.
Yeah.
But you kind of have to do what you like. So.
And to add on to this, like, we talked a lot about like school system, but man, you got to look into it deeper than that. Like, it's, look at the families these kids come from. What do their parents do? What did their parents' parents do? What did their parents' parents do? Like, and you'll see this continuous cycle. Oh, my grandfather worked in this factory X amount of years, and then my father worked. Like, there's these people actually out there, believe it or not, that, like, tell their kids, the only thing I believe in is work that I put in with my own bare hands, that I did with my own hands. That's the only thing I trust or believe in. I don't believe in anything else. I don't believe in, like, making money online or an easier, efficient way. Like, and I've heard to here in our state, Kentucky, like, you look at Appalachia, like East Appalachia, like, all coal miners
and stuff, yeah.
And it's like,
absolutely.
like breeding that into and just bring, like, that's all they know.
Yeah.
And it's like,
And they know the risk too. And
they continue to do it, and it's insane, man. It's like you have to break it out of people, like put them in a different situation. Like, oh, there's a bigger world out there. Yeah. And I think that people, when they get stuck in a routine, they go insane. There's that saying, if you do, like, insanity, the definition of sanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results every time. If like you said, school kids going like through school doing the same shit every single day over and over and over again, there's nothing. Don't expect anything special to come out.
Yeah.
Like, you can't expect anything else to come out of it. Like, I think we need to be teaching kids how to be creative, imagination. Like, that's with the book that I like. You'll see it. I even talked about it. Is like the imagination and creativity of a kid who, like, is in preschool all the way up to first grade. Right around first grade is the cutoff. They have a greater imagination and a sense of creativity than the seniors in high school. All of them.
Which I think that routine, like in school, is what preps people in life for working a 9 to 5. Literally same routine every single day. Lunch at the same time, wake up at the same time, go home at the same time. That just kind of preps people into that lifestyle that they'll be working the rest of their lives.
Oh yeah,
it's like I think it's like you said. It's not just school. It's kind of parents and everything.
Yeah.
But that's part of it. Like I know a dude I work with, and he's like 50-something years old, and he just now, like, I work in Morgantown, and it's a small town. It's a small town. Like, people there that grow up there, they don't move out of that little town. And bro, think about the box that they're in, because the world's huge, man. And they don't even go to vacation. They don't even go to Florida. So they really don't, and they live their whole life there. And he said he's been living there for 50-something years, and he just now moved out to Bowling Green recently. And he said, dude, it literally opened my mind. And he said, but my parents and everybody, they were just pushing me like, hey, you need to do this. You need to be like your dad. You need to be this, you know? So I think that's one thing that pushes it too, because he realized it too late. And I think if people just step out of their comfort zone, step out of that box, I think people it'll realize, it'll come to them.
And let me pick your guys' brain for a second. Like, have you ever thought about why kids who come from wealthy families, quote by American standards, quote unquote, succeed more than the kids who come from minority families or like under impoverished families who don't have money.
Well, I mean, I think it's
They both go to the same school.
Yeah.
They both do the same thing. What's different though?
Freedom.
Not only that, not that. The only thing that differentiates them is what they do on their breaks. What do kids from wealthy families do on summer break?
They go
on
to
trips.
Cabo, go
They
wherever
go
they want.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Summer break, they go to summer camp. They like I know doctors who send their kids to like the science camp at WKU.
Yeah.
Like they send them to these camps where they can socialize and expand their horizons, or they go on family vacations and trips.
Yeah.
But what do kids from poor families do?
spend
They
their
stay in the same
yeah.
place. They play either video games, they play basketball, soccer.
Go to a local park.
So would
Go to
you
local
would you
park.
put that blame on the kids or the parents,
I,
depending on age?
I mean,
See, I wouldn't. I'm the kind of person that doesn't like to blame anybody because I personally come from a poor family. But like, what I would have to say to that is that there's a failure in the system when it comes to how we punish kids for failing in school. Like we give them an F if they fail a science exam, instead of telling them, Tommy, maybe science isn't just not cut out for you, but you're really good at math. Let's focus you on math because you're really good at that. Or hey, Amy, you're not good at reading, math, or science, but you're a great artist. Let's keep you in the artist realm and keep pushing that because that's what you're good at.
Yeah.
I think when we start imposing things on children, especially things they're not good at, they'll never get to know what they're good at, and they'll never become great at what they're good at because they never know.
Yeah.
I think I watched a few Elon Musk interviews, and he said he's gonna send his kids to some kind of school. I don't know if
I
you
saw
ever
that
heard of
interview
it,
too.
where they go and nobody's directing you into science. They kind of have a room full of different things, and wherever the kid migrates to,
Yep.
you think that's gonna take over schooling? You think that's how the future education is?
I don't think it will because of the amount of money in the education system. I don't think that's very profitable.
Yeah.
However, I think that is very effective. Like I'm a big advocate of that. I just don't think that it will ever get to that point because there's just too much money in the education system as it is.
Is that why you think the education system has been the same for? Because the education system was the same 50 years ago as it is now. Like, very few things change.
Like technology changes a little bit, stuff like that, but
It's very outdated, and I think that higher education, like college, I think that a majority of it is basically taking a lot of money from people that I think it's just a waste of money for a lot of people, and like not to bash the education system. I think that if you want to be a doctor, yes, you need to go to college. Yes, you need to go to med school.
Yeah.
Because obviously you got people's lives at hands. If you want to be a lawyer, that kind of thing. But I think what I'm saying, if you're trying to be an entrepreneur, like for example, locally here at WKU, they just now started integrating. I think a lot of our education system is outdated.
Yeah.
And it's because it goes through this insane process to get approval from from the board before it can be taught. So by the time it gets approved, it's already 10 years behind, and you're teaching people stuff that's already it's irrelevant, not to say the least, irrelevant.
Yeah.
Like they're just now teaching people here at WKU how to use Facebook to market ads.
Yeah.
Like I've been doing that since 2014.
Yeah.
Like
billboards are on, bro.
I've been doing that for the past 5 years. Where you guys are just now getting into
Yeah.
it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's bad.
So you have the book you wrote, and you have one more book you're
yes,
working on
the
still,
next one is one I'm very passionate about right now. I'm pushing it really hard. It's called. Originally we had it called Life Equals Perspective. It's basically that life is all about how you view it. That if you wake up in the morning and you're grateful for the fact that you got to wake up on two legs, knowing that somebody else didn't, you're already off on a great start and you're gonna have a good day. Yeah. However, if you wake up and you're like, "Fuck, I gotta go to work. Oh man, like I gotta turn this assignment," you're already programming your brain to already think in a negative way, and as a result, you won't have a happy life. And so, but we changed the title now. It's called Happy Life.
Happy life.
So what is it? Again, there's a lot of people that want to write books too. What can you explain the process of writing a book? Like I know that you grind.
Yeah.
Like, literally, it is.
Yeah.
It isn't
Day and
just. Do you
night.
have deadlines? Do you have?
So it all depends what route you go. So there's two routes, and whenever you're writing a book and trying to go out there, like you can choose either self-publish, or you can go through a publishing company. And I'll tell you guys both routes, because with Voices of Bowling Green, I was wanting for a publishing company to take it. We wrote it, got it all composed, edited, everything was ready. All I needed was a publishing company to take it and print it and produce and distribute it. That's all I needed them to do. I did everything else. I was rejected literally by over 10 different publishing companies that we met with, and I got laughed at meetings. They couldn't take it seriously. They told me it wasn't gonna sell, that kind of thing. So I was kind of in shambles because I just produced, like a 300-page book, and here I am getting laughed at, like, and I was 18 at the time, man, and so like it was a little rough, and so like I was like, man, the only thing else we got is self-publish it, and so I was literally had to work like I was done right around end of October time with the book, and got rejected and all that stuff. And so like I had November, December to find a printing press that would take this book and just print it and then like figure out how to get it online. And so I found one literally like within 2 weeks. We got it all sent off and everything. I didn't even get a chance to get a proof of the book because we're on such a crunch time. Like I was like, forget it, man. I was like, I don't give a shit. Like, just get it out there. Like, at this point, I don't care how it looks. Like, I would like, well, fingers crossed it goes out how we want it. And man, like, we got our first order in. So like, it launched literally January 1st, as soon as the midnight hit, and it literally sold out. Barnes & Noble first 11 hours, it was online in the store and online. Like, it was out for 3 days, like backstocked, ordered. Like, so. That was it. It just happened because like I built up a good social media following before then, and I had a lot of support here locally with it, and so I was like, we're gonna push it, and so we blew it out of the water. It hit number 2 on Amazon charts. Right after the first month, I had the same publishing company that turned me down, calling me out for me for the second deal.
And you said, really? Fuck no.
Nope, I turned the fuck no. Yeah, that's exactly what I said.
But
and so like with the publishing route, so here's the thing, man. It's like when you're publishing a book with the publishing company. And this is something like that I thought was really weird. So if you want to be a New York Times bestseller, the only way your book will be a New York Times bestseller if it's published through a New York publishing company.
Yeah.
So if it's not published through a New York publishing company, it will not hit. It will not be on the New York Times bestseller list.
No matter how many you sell.
No matter how many units you sell, you could sell 500,000 units. They won't put it on there.
That's crazy.
And it's crazy how the system works, man. And so like, and in order for them to get it, so like the way they work out these deals, man, it's crazy. You have to get an agent, and they won't even talk to you if you don't have an agent.
An agent, as in like, you have to hire somebody that's already doing this? Because I know in like soccer, you need to hire somebody credible. Or did you just call your friend up and be like, hey?
See, it's got to be an agent that has these connections, like that, like that's worked with authors before.
Yeah.
And so like that's the thing. It's like that's what they're looking for, and they want to cut. And so then whenever you broker a deal with the publishing company, they want their cut. By the end of it, man, you'll probably get a 15-20% cut of your own book. And at that point, they might loan you in advance, right? And so it's like a record label offers an artist $1 million, $10 million deal. They didn't offer him that. Like, it's not free money. It's basically a loan for them to produce and exchange how many, like, they basically get to keep it once they've paid it all off. Yeah. And so, like, publishing company will loan you that money with an advance. You have to pay it back. If you don't, you speak basically until you cover their end.
And you talked about time crunch.
Oh, dude.
But there's a lot of people out there. They say, I don't have time to do shit. I don't have time to do this. I go to school. I work. I'm kind of the same. I don't really complain because what I believe in is you can work those late nights and wake up those early mornings. What do you think about that?
I tell them stop watching Netflix. Stop. You know, like it's crazy. It's really crazy and mind blowing to me that people can spend like 40% of their time of their day on their phones, but can't dedicate 5% towards themselves, like 5 minutes of the day. Like I had a buddy who just taught me this principle. There's the 20-20-20 principle, and it's like basically 20 minutes of like meditation, 20 minutes of doing what you want to do, and then like basically leisure, and then 20 minutes of working towards your goals and that kind of thing. And so like you do that each day, it's gonna add up. And so like, and it doesn't matter. Here's the thing. I think that like another thing is that people are so worried about some kind of like deadline. Like I have to make $1 million before I'm 30, or like, you know what I'm saying, or I have to have a house or car, a family, this and this by this. Like, people don't realize that it's all gonna happen on your own time. Like everybody has their own time schedule. Like it won't happen when you want it to. Like it's gonna happen. It's gonna take its course. You just have to be patient. Yeah. And like a lot of it has to deal with patience, man.
There's a Nipsey quote, perfect timing always feels like I'm too late.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep. That's facts right there, man. I love Nipsey.
I think people try to match timelines. So if Bill Gates got rich, I don't know when he got rich. I didn't do research, but if he got rich at 21, people wanna get rich at 21. Or if they're 23, they're like, oh fuck, I failed. That's it.
Colonel Sanders didn't launch his restaurant until he was 65. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
65. Like, he went through 65 years of his life being like
mediocre.
Mediocre. Nobody, like, not even doing cooking. Not even doing cooking, man. Like, and then at 65 decides to do it and then dies by, like, I want to say he died about 75. So he only got 10 years out of it, but I bet your ass, like, he enjoyed every bit of it. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
100%. And he had both ends of the spectrum. So I think that even makes it better. Because if you go up rich, you don't really appreciate it.
Yeah.
You know, we came here, all of us came here without shit. With fucking, our parents didn't have shit. They literally came here with whatever they had in whichever country. And we kind of appreciate it. So when we work up to a goal, you know, I think we appreciate money more and value it, and that shapes a person. So.
Oh yeah, of course. I think that, like, at the same time also, like, man, like, I think people want to get successful for the wrong reasons. I think that's what it is more than everything. It's like, people want to be successful to buy a Mercedes-Benz to impress John down the street who doesn't give a shit about him in the first place. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I talk with kids all the time, man. Like, the kids that I'm managing, like, kids want to blow up and just, like, buy all this stuff so they can pull up in school looking like, I'm like, dude, nobody gives a shit. Like, people will view you as an asshole. Like, I'm not that kind of guy. Like, I was missing half my senior year because I was going out speaking, like, all around the country and stuff, and, like, I would show up to school wearing the same exact clothes as, like, every other kid. Like, you wouldn't even recognize me. And it's, like, the genuine, like, being authentic with people.
So what do you think about, like, I know Meek Mill, what he does is he says, people say the same thing about him. And he's like, yeah, I did do it to buy a chain. But he's like, I didn't do it to buy a chain to show off. He's like, I bought a chain because this is a fucking trophy.
Yeah.
He's like, we don't get trophies because we're not athletes. He's like, this is a trophy. So when I wear it, it's not because I'm trying to show off.
Yeah.
It's like, because this means something. I made it from nothing.
That's the thing. It's like, and here's to touch on that. It's like I said, people want to get successful for the wrong reasons so they could buy the wrong things, right? But if you find happiness, if you're happy and you buy a Mercedes-Benz, like, if you don't seek happiness out of the Mercedes-Benz, if you just buy it because, you know, like, it makes you feel good, whatever, you know, like, and it won't hurt your credit card or you won't hurt your credit, like, and you won't be hurting for it, right?
You can buy it twice.
Buy it twice, like, you know what I'm saying? Do it, like, go all for it, man. But if you're gonna put it all on credit, put all this shit on credit, and just impress people, and you're not happy, like, they're like, what the fuck are you doing?
Just create problems for yourself. That's it.
Yeah, like, really, you know what I'm saying? You're just digging yourself a hole that you can't get out of. And, like, all for what? Attention, 5 seconds from somebody, like, that you don't really fuck with, or, like, that doesn't like you.
You get a head turn. That's about
man,
it.
Yeah.
We've done it. Like, I've personally, we went down to Miami, rented up. Your dream's always to have a Lambo.
Yeah.
We rented it for 3 days, and then you're driving the first day, you're like, fuck, this is cool. Everybody's looking at me. But the second day, you come by, and the same people are like, okay, he got a Lambo, that's it.
Yeah.
And you realize, like, fuck, this really isn't shit. This isn't happiness.
You know what I like to relate to whenever we're in school, like, we buy a new pair of shoes for the first day of school. Everybody notices the first day, second day, third day, nobody gives a shit anymore. It's like, all right, cool, bro. Yeah. You know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, pat you on the back. And it's like, you're living, and people, and this is why a lot of people are depressed in America, is because people are living for instant gratification. Like being happy for, like, 2 or 3 days, but, like, and then being depressed for for the next 27 days, right?
Yeah.
Until they do the next thing. Like, living for those short little moments, like, I think it's BS. Like,
oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
people don't really see that until they actually experience it.
Yep.
Or realize it, you know what I mean?
And it really hits people. It doesn't hit them till maybe 50, 60, 70, 80 years old. And by then it's like, shit, you already wasted more than half your life.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like,
Yeah, now you're scrambling to actually find happiness. And
Yep.
what your niche is.
yep, that regret, man. There's nothing worse than it.
Hey, 1 second. Let's see if that bourbon's good.
All right. Oh yeah, shit. I've been talking a lot.
Damn, just like that?
Gone.
Just like that.
I'll get a good ready.
It's not a shot glass.
Little sip. It's alright though.
I will
So,
say
I
my
mean-
favorite bourbon's Weller, and I like Blanton's. Knob Creek's good too.
Fill the next one for later.
For later.
Yeah.
up.
At the end of the show.
So you've met all these people. You have some notoriety about yourself. Has that brought any like sponsorships or people kind of wanting to?
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah,
Like
what do you have?
with the social media following that I built up, man, I've been blessed to work with brands like Axe, the NFL. I worked with True Religion just recently. We did something. Dunkin' Donuts. I was trying to work out a deal with Windows, Microsoft. They were releasing some kind of laptop, and I was gonna do something with them. But like, man, I've got the privilege to do all that stuff, and then not only that, but you know, I've been a lot with the community stuff I've been doing ever since I was 16. I've been always asked to go to DC and that kind of stuff, and meet up with congressmen, representatives, and that kind of thing, and just getting to do all that stuff. So I've been really blessed to do all that stuff, man. But it's just kind of like seeing all seeking the reward from all the work you put in.
Yeah.
And so like I've also signed out a deal with Social Native. It's a talent agency out in LA. I've started doing stuff with them since I was 18. And so like with all the following I built up, like brands have been just reaching out like crazy. And it's really crazy what we come to now. Like before 10 years ago, 15 years ago, if you wanted to like push your brand or whatever, buy a Super Bowl ad, buy a commercial, buy a billboard, that kind of thing. But now like nobody pays attention to that. Like you're driving down the interstate, people don't even give a shit about billboards anymore. They're on their phones. Yeah. Like it's sad to say, like as much as I'm a big advocate for don't text and drive, don't be on your phone, that kind of thing. Yeah. But like the fact of the matter is 3 out of the 5 cars that roll by are on their phones. Like,
Yeah.
And so everything's going online on social. And so big thing is like, how can you push your brand? How can you sell your product, whatever? How can you get people to know about you? And best way to do it is reach out to influencers who have thousands of followers, pay them, do a partnership, send them a product, that kind of thing, have them promote it. It'll probably cost you half the price of a Super Bowl commercial, but you'll reach 2 times the audience.
Yeah.
And it's the right audience.
Oh, yeah, man.
You can
Oh,
target.
yeah.
Of course.
What still blows my mind, man, we were out in, I think this was out in August, second week in August. Google came, and we basically attended that. Like, we were invited. We showed up literally in a room full of 100 executives, like people who worked at Corvettes, like executive board, like GM, like and then all these businesses sent their reps and stuff like to attend it. Dude, 95% of that room didn't even know like how to set up a Google account.
What?
Like an email?
Yeah, like a simple Google account, and they're like, all right, step 1, this is how we're gonna do this. And it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and so, but, you know, it's sad to see that, like, all these corporate executives don't even know, like, how to set up something as simple as a Google account. Now, take someone who's your guy's age, or, like, some kid who's a 16-year-old in high school who knows everything about Instagram, knows the basics, like Twitter, whatever. Like, dude, there's a lot of money to be made here. Like, and that's what people, like, what's been mind-blowing to me is just, like, God, like, it's so much potential out there for all these kids, like, to make a lot of money just because, like, the way everything's moving online, like, it's insane, dude.
Bro, people don't realize with like YouTube, social media.
Yeah.
When you put something out there, it's not just Bowling Green. It's not just the region. It's the whole fucking world.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something I think people don't realize is how big of an influence you have and how big of an audience you can reach, and that's one of the things that I don't think people realize.
Oh yeah.
What's it called? Working with these sponsors. Talk a little about like the steps, what you can and can't do. Is there stuff like that for people that don't know?
Oh yeah, man. Like, so usually when something like this happens, so like a brand, let's just say like Nike comes out and they have this new shoe coming out, like a Nike Free Run 4 or whatever, if it hasn't come out yet. And they're like, all right, we want to launch a campaign. We want to sell 100,000 shoes. So how are we going to reach this goal? And so they sit down in this round table, and they're like, all right, so an agency can come by, they can hire one that has like influencers signed to them, and they'll be like, okay, this agency has 50 million people they can reach. They have 1,500 influencers, 2,000, whatever. It's going to cost, let's just say, $10 or $15 million for this campaign that they're going to run. A commercial will cost you like, let's just say like $5 million to run a commercial. And so like, and then plus the money they'll spend on billboards and whatever, whatnot. Yeah. And so that amount of money, they'll just be like, okay, we won't do that this time. We'll just try it through this campaign and see how it goes. And so the agency will be like, all right, we need 1,000 shoes in these sizes. They'll give it to them. Agency reaches out to these influencers like, here's your shoe. Here's $100, $200, $500, depending on how big your following is. And they'll pay them. They have to post by a certain date. They have to include a set of hashtags, a specific hashtags, and that's just for the agencies so they can keep track of how many posts they've gotten up and how many people like engaged and that kind of thing. The analytics, that way they can show Nike and be like, all right, this is what's been done. And so that's how the process goes. Now, like, you know, it gets pretty hectic whenever you got like, you know, 1,500 influencers you got to work with. Having an email constantly, keep in touch with them, making sure they got the stuff, making sure that they're gonna post it, making sure like all this and that.
Do you do all that for yourself?
So with the stuff we just launched out, like we basically do it. We basically handle all of that. And before, man, it was a pain, but we're getting the hang of it. It's not anything too complicated, but it takes a few times doing it to know how you're doing it, what you're doing. And a lot of times, sometimes we'll work with brands directly. So, like, we'll just cut out agencies and we'll just work one-on-one.
What would be some advice you would give to somebody starting to get these offers from, say, True Religion or just any brand in general? What's some advice you would give them?
Yeah.
Or actually, like
don't sell out.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. Pick a platform. Pick a platform, like, what you're good at. Some people, like, are good at YouTube. Some people are good at Instagram, whatever. Find which one you like the best and hit it hard. So what I mean by that is like constantly post content, like whether if you want to be the influencer guy that promotes like clothing, whatever, post more pictures of yourself, build a following or a brand for yourself, a brand name. And hell, like once you start building it, reach out. Like literally you'll be surprised and mind blown if you just decide to pick 100 brands, right? Send them a DM and be like, hey, I'm an influencer. Would you guys mind sending me something so I could, you know, promote you? Dude, not like 9 times out of 10 you will get a response, and out of the 100 DMs you send, 25 of them will respond back, hell yeah, let's do something. The other 20, maybe 25 will say, we got a process for that, and then 50 of them probably won't open them, which is no big deal.
Yeah, that's what I did.
So cool.
I had.
Oh yeah, dude.
I had
like,
X2K gram, which is a big like carp. I had like 48,000 followers or something, and what we did is me and Meldon actually, we hit up companies, like chose 20 companies, 50 companies. We emailed them, and dude, I'm surprised, like 10 responded, like, hey, we'll send you free shit. Like here, like just do that, just promote it, just post us once. Some said don't even post us, just keep it in there, keep it in the pictures, you know, hidden. And it's crazy what you can do.
Oh yeah, it's just like it goes back to that, man. Like many people are just too scared to even try, or like have that mindset already pre-built, like that people are gonna say no. Like, you told yourself no before somebody else did.
Or even had
you know what I'm saying? Like, you told yourself no. Like, don't say that they said no. Like, you said no. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, I think I messed that up.
Nah,
that's fine.
My bad.
Nah, you good.
You good.
So, like, yeah, man. And another thing is, like, people are like, man, I wanna have an interview with, like, the CEOs of America's top 500 companies. I'm like, dude, have you ever sent them an email? And it's like, you'll be surprised how many CEOs like open up their emails and check regularly. How many people will not even think about sending the CEO an email? Like every CEO I've ever sent an email to, I've received a response from. Like that tells you something.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Email, like for people to check it, go through the messages. I mean, like
Exactly.
you have like a spam folder.
What people don't see is that you can, like, email is a big thing because Gary Vee actually, I don't know who it was actually. Let me not quote Gary Vee, but I know there's a guy that had he had an interview, and he got down to like the last 4 out of 200, and they interviewed the last 4, like the third interview or whatever, and they didn't hire him. They sent him a email saying, "Hey, we didn't hire you. This and that. You weren't qualified. This and that." And what he did was, he responded back. He's like, "Hey, I just want to figure out what do y'all want from somebody?
Yep.
And what do y'all need from me later down the line when there's a job opening to get hired?" And what they said is, actually, we didn't hire any of the 4. We were waiting for somebody to respond.
Oh, okay.
And he got the job.
Yep.
So that shit's crazy. It just blows your mind. Like, failure doesn't mean everything.
That's the mindset I've always had with everything, man. It's like you never take no for an answer. And what I mean by that, don't be like an asshole, of course, but like, you know, figure out why they said no and figure out a way to work around it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I made an offer like on houses I've tried to buy, and it's like I made an offer, didn't respond, so I reached back. I'm like, "Hey, why didn't you take the offer? What's going on?" Like, and figure out why, and then like basically work to make the ends meet. Like, you have to give up some, they give up some, you meet yourself in the middle somewhere.
Yeah.
You brought up houses. You into real estate and investments and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah.
What
Or
kind of
just
investments
explain.
have you made?
Like the whole business
Yeah,
aspect.
the real estate too. A lot of people don't know about that.
So, cool thing is there's something called the first time homeowner loan that you can get. And I encourage a lot of kids out there who are trying to get involved, pursue that route. Like, it's zero money down, so you can be broke. And you can get a property, zero money down, and rent it out to people. They pay them, like, you charge them $1,000 a month rent. Mortgage is maybe $450 to $650 a month. Pay the mortgage with that $1,000 a month you get, and then you pocket $400 to $500 for yourself each month on passive income. One thing I'm doing though is I'm trying to develop. I got 20 acres right off US 6880 Russell Road. I'm trying to develop into 23 fourplex apartments, about 108 units, and a big real estate project I'm working on. I also got a buddy I'm working with who's got over 200 acres in Webster County, Kentucky. I'm trying to help him develop that into a trans park. So it's basically like we're gonna try to bring in companies like Volvo, manufacturing companies, and set up shop and basically. And also add on to that, build a strip mall, and then add some apartment complexes if we can right around there. But I've been getting involved in that since I was 18. I've been investing since I was 17. I started investing. I did a lot of stuff with stocks and bonds. People have been talking a lot about Bitcoin here in a while, but I've been mining Bitcoin since I was a freshman in high school. I had a little old Gateway laptop I set up in my room, and I would plug it in. This was right around when Bitcoin was roughly right around $150 to $120. Plugged it into a wall outlet and just mined Bitcoin while I was in school. Come back. Crazy thing is, man, I had mined about like 4.7 Bitcoin, and I lost I just stopped doing it like right around end of sophomore year because I was just like, all right, whatever. And it blew up, and I was trying to go back to access my like token key, because for Bitcoin, to access your Bitcoin, you need to have a token key, which is this long ass address, and then a password that's 20 phrases long. I wrote down the token key, but I didn't write the fucking password down. And so, of course, it's not regulated, so you can't ever get your account back. If you lost it, you lost it. So I had 4.7 Bitcoin sitting around that I just couldn't access.
I would sit there for hours trying to think that up. I try everywhere.
I've tried. Here's the crazy part. I tried to reach out to hackers to see if they would split 50-50 with me. I'm like, but you can't trust them either, because you give them the token key, they might take the whole damn thing.
What's some other business you invested in?
Good call on that. So last year I've been watching a lot of tech stocks. I've been telling people, like a lot of people I'm close with that are just trying to get invested. I was like, look, Snapchat dipped last year around October, November, to an all-time low of like $6 a share. Snapchat, we all know what that is. That's not going anywhere soon. The lowest it's ever been was $9. And so it went past that to $6, and I was like, it can't go below that, because then like they're looking at Chapter 11, and so like, and we all know like Snapchat's not going anywhere. So I was like, shit, everybody buy, like buy Snapchat. That's all I'm gonna tell you is buy Snapchat. I bought up hundreds of shares, man. I kid you not, like right around $6.50, $7 a share is what the average share price was for me whenever I bought in. And I told a lot of people to do it. Right around like 2 months ago, it hit like $18 a share, like a little under $18 a share. Yeah. So like pocketed like 120% return. most banks do 2 or 3% a year on your savings account. I did 120% in a matter of 8 months.
That's fucking
Wow.
I did something similar to that. You know what Forex is?
Yep.
Foreign exchange.
Trade on
It
pips.
was just yeah. It was the same thing. It was like I was doing Australian dollar and Canadian dollar, and one day I just see a drop all the way low. I look back in the graphs like last 3 years. It's never been that low ever.
Yep.
I've been cool, whatever. I buy I think $100 worth of Australian dollars, and I leave my computer, leave it on to work, come back next day, and I've got 1,000 in my account. Just
Yep.
waiting for me. I pull out immediately. I didn't even care. I was like, I'm not gonna mess with it anymore. I don't care if it goes up. I'm cool with 1,000. I'm pulling out. I'm done.
Yeah, man, that's one thing I've been telling people is like, if you're young, man, and if you're working a job, like you should be saving at least 25% of what you make, at least at the low end. And I typically do mine right around 65% is what I put in investments, and then 35. Now, of course, not a lot of people can do that. So 35% of what I make, I keep it, checking, that kind of thing, and just work with it, living expenses if I want to buy nice things, that kind of thing. But 65% goes towards investments. So I'm just building on my portfolio, always building. And that's how, like, I've averaged in the past of me doing this, the past 4 years, I've averaged on Wall Street right around a 57% return a year.
That's great.
fucking good.
Yeah, so, like, it's been really nice. Like, I'm on track to retire, like, if I continue the trend, like, retire by 32. But, like, of course.
Man, you never
market-
retire.
Yeah.
People like you never
Yeah,
retire.
I'll never retire. It'll be continuous.
Moving on. Let's do. You have Visionary Media. Tell us about that.
Oh, yeah. So Visionary, that's my baby, man. Visionary Media is something me and my buddy, we started up. This was 2 years ago. Like, this was when I've been succeeding with the nonprofit. Like, the reason why we succeeded a lot was because of social media, man. It was just been such a big tool. Same thing goes with the book. The reason why everything that I did got so big was because we cracked Instagram in 2014 when it came out. And we've been working with that and just built everything off of it. Dude, right when I was 19, so 2 years ago, started Visionary Media. And all we do is, it's basically social media marketing, branding, visuals, that kind of thing, production. We do all that stuff. And we work with brands. We also sign influencers like under our what I'm wearing right now, One Nation, which we'll talk about. I pick out influencers that have massive followings, sign them to our company, and we go out to brands like New Balance, go out to big brands, and we sit down with them. We're like, all right, let's do a social media campaign. Let's promote your stuff, and let's get it out there. And so we do it through working on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok. Just recently, we started working with that.
How did you get into that?
Oh man, so like I said, man, the reason why the nonprofit blew up was because of Instagram, and the book sold because of Instagram. And so I've just mastered that really well, and I was like, shit, why can't I do this for other businesses? Why can't I help companies do the same thing if they want to sell merchandise, or if an organization wants to increase its members, whatever, not like I can provide that insight and service. And it's crazy because nobody was the market was untouched, man. Like nobody was doing it, and I was so easy to sell.
Yeah.
To people, I'm like, hey, for a few $100s a month, I'll market your stuff on Instagram, Facebook, whatever, whatnot. And we'll also customize your logo. We'll sit down, brainstorm, provide consulting, all this kind of stuff. Eventually, it opened up the doors. I was working with local small businesses, opened up the doors to bigger businesses and brands that we got a chance to work with. And so at that point, it just kept going upscale, man.
It's amazing. What is your? How do you? The question is, how do I word this? How do you approach these people? What do you like? How do you come at them to get them to on board with you?
Oh yeah, dude, it's so easy. I would literally come up to businesses and we would sit down and be like, how much money are you spending on advertising?
Yeah.
And where is that money going? Are you spending money on radio? Are you spending money on TV? At that point, it's a cakewalk.
Right.
That's basically where we say, how about this? You give half. You cut your marketing advertising budget in half. You give it to us. You don't spend money with TV and radio, so we'll save you money, and we'll show you that we can do 2 times the impact. And it ends up working every time, man. I'm saving them money, and at the same time growing their business, doing double the work.
Yeah.
And so like but it's been very tough. It's surprisingly, I mean, not surprising, but like for people who are elderly who don't understand technology as well, it's been very difficult. Like to break it to them that, hey, you know, TV's been out since 1950s, and that stuff doesn't work anymore. Everything's here now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like everything's here. Let's put your money into it.
Yeah.
And it's like you can't lose, but they're just, and it works with, it's same thing with my parents. I try to explain it, like it's very complex to them. It's easier for us because it comes first nature. We kind of we see it. Yeah, we grew up with this, but like for them, it's like what the hell, like you know what I'm saying?
Going on?
Like showing my mom the other day how like TikTok works, and she's like all confused, like, and it was just like she started getting herself entertained, started scrolling through everything, like you know what I'm saying, like. It's pretty cool, but at the same time, like I think it takes time to like for everybody to adapt to it. But like the thing is, the market's changing, and you have to change with it, man. Like companies that were in the Fortune 500 like 25 years ago, I would say more than 75% of them are no longer in the Fortune 500. Like they've been replaced.
bankrupt, like Blockbuster,
Sears, Toys R
Us, just companies like that have just gone. They never really
sure.
Adjusted to the movement.
Yep. And like you crumble and you fail, like, and that's like you have to be accepting. Like people are like there's a lot of people out there. I've talked with executives. They're like, well, we don't want that. We don't want that shift to happen. I'm like, well, too bad. It's gonna happen. Like,
Like whether to get lost.
like whether you like it or not. Like we don't like. You might not like it. I might like it. Who gives a shit? It's gonna happen.
Yeah,
like
you
you know what I'm
can't
saying.
control
Like you can't control that. You know what I'm saying. Like everybody's adapting. Everything's going online now, man.
Hey, before we do, time's running a little low, so
Yeah.
before we do the Timeless 10,
Yeah.
explain the kind of the hat.
Oh yeah. So One Nation is something we launched. We're about to launch here in about a week for everybody to know, in case you haven't seen it. It's something under Visionary Media. It's a talent management agency. We just signed 3 influencers that have a combined like following of 3.5 million, and so we work with artists, musicians, influencers, just about basically everybody in all walks of life, representing them and that kind of thing, and at the same time hooking them up with brands, putting them in the incubator I have with Visionary Media, basically growing them online, growing their presence, making sure that they stay relevant, and coming up with creative, cool ideas, working with other influencers that will reach out to like YouTubers and that kind of thing, and work with them and like work out a deal. We're trying to produce something right now with Converse. Some cool idea we got in the making.
It's fucking dope.
So got some chucks going. We're trying to work out like something with that, and it's pretty cool, man. So like that's something I'm gonna launch here in about a week. Everyone will know about it, and we're pushing it, dude. Like I'm trying to sit down. Also, like TikTok's a big platform, and you guys will probably hear it here first. Like TikTok will replace Instagram. Like it will replace it here. I would say in about 3 years. Give it some time. It's growing so fast, man. It's insane. Youngest guy we got signed right now has 230,000 followers on TikTok alone, 26.5 million views, like in a matter of 6 months.
So that's fucking crazy.
So like it just, the growth is insane, man. And so like capturing it right now is the best time. If I have any advice for anybody out there trying to do anything on social media, trying to get themselves known, jump on TikTok, stop dropping some TikTok videos, promote it, go hard on it while you can, like while it's still early, hop on it, because you'll grow. And I promise you, like it doesn't take you nothing but like 15-30 seconds to record a TikTok and drop it online for thousands of people to see.
And you've seen with these people like who start on Vine, which TikTok's kind of like Vine. It's like the revival of it. People start just kind of making videos, like 6-second videos. Give people millions sponsored, millions of dollars, their own YouTube channels, brands. Open all kinds of doors.
There's influencers we work with that get $3,000 to $5,000 a video, like just off of shooting a stupid 10-second video, them do something dumb.
Some
like,
dance, whatever.
No work at all. It's just
it's no effort, no effort whatsoever, and like it gets distributed to Barstool and like Comedy Central, whatever, whatnot, and like people run ads over it, collect ad revenue. Like it's insane. Like, and the crazy thing about it is, in the next coming weeks, it will become monetized. And what that means is it'll be just like YouTube. So there'll be ads running in between TikTok videos.
Oh, yeah.
And there's potential there for anybody who's an influencer. If you have over 100,000 followers on TikTok, you will start getting paid for your videos. And so it's just a whole nother platform. I mean, the founder of TikTok, I want to say he's made close to $7 billion
Damn.
already.
How long has it been out?
Like a year.
Damn, that's wild. That's wild.
So, you know what I'm saying? Like, $7 billion, I mean, that's minimum. Like, we're talking low end. He's probably
That's not shit.
he's pocketed about probably 15. Like, and that's just 1 year, like, of the app being out. So, you know, this is a kind of signal. And I've seen, like, the numbers for Instagram. It's all kind of started to die down a little bit.
Yeah.
People love to jump on something that's brand new and fresh or whatever.
Yeah.
It might be the same thing as all the other platforms,
Yeah,
but
it's
if it's
just
new,
Different packaging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
different packaging,
Yeah.
people jump on it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I hate to end it,
Yeah.
but I think we got like 10 minutes left.
Yeah,
So we're going to do the Timeless 10, which is basically 10 questions we ask every guest, and it just straight
Just
answers.
an
So
answer.
it shouldn't take
We'll
like
talk
a
about it.
couple minutes. So go ahead. Just answer them quickly.
I'll
And
do the questions.
All right.
So, first question: if you had work but didn't need the money, what would you choose to do?
Ooh, that's a good one. Oh man, dude, I would probably honestly just fish. I love fishing.
Fishing.
Oh
Nice. If you could disinvent one thing, what would it be?
yeah. Oh man.
the phone.
Nah, I love the phone. The phone, man. Don't take my phone from me, dog. Shoot, probably be the TV, man.
TV.
Yeah.
If you could meet one person, dead or alive, who would it be?
Oh shoot, that would probably be. I would like to meet John F. Kennedy.
JFK. Good. If you had all the money in the world, what would the first thing you buy?
I'll put everybody out. That's a good one. First thing I would do is I would give back to the community here in Bowling Green, man.
Yeah, that's good. If you had one piece of advice for the younger version of yourself, what would it be?
In a sentence.
In a sense. Don't give a shit about what other people think about you and keep doing you.
Who would you say inspired you the most growing up?
Oh man, I would have to say, dude, that would be my parents, and that's just because of the work ethic.
Who's your favorite artist right now? Just music-wise, whatever, anything.
I love Jeezy. I'm a big Jeezy guy.
Go
Yeah,
get her.
I couldn't call
Go
that.
get her.
I love. He just dropped Thug Motivation, the new one. I've been slapping that. But then, like, if you're talking about new guys coming up, it'll probably be T Grizzly.
T Grizz?
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming. I'm not gonna lie.
Hold on,
He's
it
the
ain't-
last person.
It ain't been a Euro?
Nah, not yet. Soon.
What would you say the most common reason people give up is?
Because of other people's opinions about themselves.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
It would be to fly.
Just fly?
And a lot of people tell me, like, you want to have telekinesis, but I'm like, nah, man, I just want to fly.
I don't care what people think. It's good. And what's one thing in this world you can't live without?
If you
Water?
take something, let's say anywhere, one thing that you
A
couldn't
material
live
item,
without.
not like a
No.
person,
Oh,
not-
material?
A material
Yeah,
item,
like-
yeah.
Shoot. For me, it would probably be the book that Val Hellman-Daris from DC gave it to me back in 2016. I go with that everywhere I go.
Fuck yeah, that's some good
It's
shit.
dope.
And what we're gonna do to finish it off, we got a wall with all clocks. We're gonna have Keenan break a clock because we're timeless. And,
Oh, yeah.
What we're gonna do is he's gonna sign it and put a quote on it.
Oh, yeah.
So what's the quote gonna be?
If you knew what you were worth, you wouldn't settle for less.
Fuck yeah.
Like it.
If you don't break it, because it's gonna shout everywhere.
Do we sign hammers?
You got the hammer?
You sound the
Hammer.
Okay, on the paper. All right, so we smash it first?
Smash it. Just lightly. It smashes easy.
There we go.
That's good. That's good.
That's Thomas.